Wassail. So, higher dimensional beings reading 5, lost track now, Andromedans, and they've just made me get out loads of decks that I don't use. The 2 Lenormand decks, Grimmel deck with very blank cards that I've never used in a reading, and my least comfortable deck, the little miniature Egyptian ones. So this is the face of anxiety. I've been channeling. There's a lot of messages to do with music, pitch, frequency. So let me explain. The Milky Way and the Andromeda galaxy are moving and crashing together. Not right now. Well, they are. They're closer than scientists believe. It's underway, but I don't want to say it's a distortion because it's not. It's a new harmonic frequency. That's what they're trying to say. So part of the channeling was a lot to do with I could hear dun 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 dun, and then I was hearing dun 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 dun, Beethoven's Pathetique, and then I was hearing Tchaikovsky's Pathetique, and that's the Pathetique part. This empathy, this understanding, this merging is the key thing. For some reason, I also heard the Gershwin Piano Concerto. There's something to do with they're trying to show me the full range of musical pitch, music of the spheres, crystal cave of healing when we pass over through death. There's all kinds of different energetic imagery coming. Also flowers, sugar, sweetness, the notion of burgeoning life force, new energies, all of those frequencies are coming across. They also have asked me to split, which I haven't done ever since I got the 2 decks, my Anna Stark, double Anna Stark deck with Louis Dyer into their 2 component parts. This one being the Milky Way, this one representing Andromeda. So I'm just going to plow in and see what happens. So Milky Way is where we're beginning. What would you like to bring energetically to our attention? Andromedans, the Milky Way. I'm really hearing the sea. I know it's out there, but what I mean is I'm not usually aware of it while I'm doing these readings, but I'm getting a sonic frequency from it. And I'm getting the note D. Okay, so because they said they're going to keep putting notes in, and I have to resonate the notes. So D is the sacral in terms of us at the moment, but this is D coming from a kind of different cosmic. So they've made me turn this card. Open intuition, seek clarification. Open intuition with Andromedans. So we're going to use the D to open the intuition, and then we're going to see. I'll just give these a shuffle. This is unfolding in a way that I couldn't possibly anticipate. Oh. The Andromedans have just left 3 cards, so I'm not going to look at them yet because they're face down. But let's go back to this D, and let's hope I can sing it. With being in isolation so much at the moment, I used to joke that the only time I spoke was when I made a video, and I'd be and at the moment when trying to do singing and sound healing, my voice is feeling very vulnerable. Well, not vulnerable, just out of practice because of the quiet. So I'm trying to sing a bit more at the moment because I need to get some sound healings done for people. But I can't sustain these pitches for the amount of time that I would like to or need to. So let's get some practice in. Obviously, I'm going to flatten these sounds slightly because that's A440 and I don't work with that in sound healing. So they're showing me pitch combinations of harmonic melodies to unlock this communication point with the Andromedans, and they're also showing me crop circles. I don't know whether whether that's the truth, but it's like the crop circles are messages from the Andromeda galaxy, giving a form of three-dimensional language that is somehow, and I really don't understand this is way past my normal understanding of things, but how the crop circles, when visualized, which I do quite naturally using that eye at the back of the head that you use for magic eye paintings, that the three-dimensional the three-dimensional reality of a crop circle, when you stop seeing it as flat, is part of a healing pitch frequency, not healing, a coded pitch frequency to unlock some kind of light language that's Andromedan. So you see, it's not connecting to my sacral because I'm trying to find a combination that's them. And I think that the pitch Do D is going to be pulled down to a C sharp, like it's a spinal cosmic thread connection. So let's just see where the pitch goes to bring us into that body lock of connection, or to bring me in anyway. And then you, as you're sitting there, to feel the same frequency. Talking to me about how the piano keyboard is semitones and we're dealing with quarter tones, eighth tones, we're dealing with a much greater fluidity of pitch for this combination. That was it. So, let's see what they've got to say. So, we have 624072. You see, this was 29, and they're saying that's this 11 frequency of the crop circle creation within the crystalline grid. 62 reflection. Okay, so they're talking about scrying, using not dark liquids, but taking like a black ceramic bowl, filling it with water, and looking into the image in a candle lit, or at least a dimly lit space, and seeking this lightning, and this is a very Egyptian looking card, and sacred wisdom is the patterns contained within the geometric language of crop circles. I have no idea why we're getting crop circles. I'm being told to add a little Egyptian to the lightning. What do you want to say, Andromeda, please? What do you want to share, Andromedans? What do you want to share, please? These are such little cards for my enormous hands. There's nothing jumping. There we go. I was going to say they were putting this notion of splitting, and then two cards came out. So we have 12 and 10. So this is, I want to kind of say, sort of like semaphore, but that's not the original thing they put in my head. They're talking about, it's like sign language. It's like language that people who don't hear use as a form of signing. But this is to do with a form of aligning ourselves, aligning our energies, and creating, because this is the notion of, I'm also seeing, this is so musical in its content. I'm getting Stravinsky's Rite of Spring with Diaghilev and his very Egyptian based dance moves that freaked out the Parisian society at its premiere in about, I can't remember, really far back. My brain's saying 1914, but I think, I'm really not sure about that. This is another part of shouting 12, but it's not, the date's not important. The importance is the discomfort, the disbelief that came with this new energetic frequency of body movement at that point. And then the second card is really referencing the the preparation for our light bodies. This is really distant energy. I'm not sure why we're being told about this, because it feels like it's not in our lifetimes, but it's okay. So they're now talking about the note G. So G is Jupiter. So maybe we'll find that there's a link to Saturn coming at some point. So what they're saying is that there is a future point, but we need to work on our energetic. We have a light body now that surrounds us, which is our auric field. Okay, thank you. So that's why we're opening this intuition to communicate. There's a peacock wing. So we're looking at how to prepare our body energetically for future energies that are a long way off, but also the energies that are coming now in this December moment. So the Jupiter energy are our energy wings. It enters the body at the back of the neck and it travels down and it rotates. Now all of our other energies pass through Jupiter, and Jupiter is the great cleanser. So and bearing in mind that during the Great Conjunction Jupiter shifts into a new placement as along with Saturn within 2 days of each other, we're looking at the frequency needing to be cleansed, tidied up, sharpened. So let's work on G. Be experiencing distortions in your ears. There's this is part of what was in the earlier readings about membrane of M theory changing its frequency throughout the world as we move through this solar eclipse on the 14th and the Great Conjunction on the 21st. And then the rebirth of the sun on the moment between the 24th and the 25th, the midnight point there, obviously GMT, Universal Time, UTC. So can we please have then so this is about, it's l'indulgence, which is a divine 9. It's about being in a deep healing sleep is what I almost want to say, but it's not. So there's partly this message of the conjunction creating calmness to sleep and to heal during. See, now they've put two things in my head. They've put the 3 days between the Great Conjunction and then another form of sleep that comes after the rebirth of the sun. But this has something to do with this process of rewriting old DNA traumas and rewriting our divine blueprint. But there's a sense that we all have to acknowledge acknowledge shame for all of the parts that we are currently playing in the subjugation of each other, but also to not feel guilt. This is really... I knew this message was going to be really difficult before approaching the reading. So it's about integrating, understanding. They're bringing in, it's such higher frequency universal law understanding that's resonating on a different dimension. But what they're saying is that these, you know, it could be the 17th dimension, it could be the 32nd dimension. That's not, they're not giving me a number. I mean, they're now saying to me the 27th dimension, because it's on the card, because that's a divine number. That's not the point. The point is that these energies closer and closer to source, as they come down at each level, they lose a little of their purity, but there is a thread of the purity that can go all the way down into the core of each planet, into the core of our DNA, and then it's for us to kind of supercharge it, to bring it to this energetic freedom that is coming. Oh, this is tricky. Anyway, let's move on. So, Andromeda. This is the cards of the Milky Way. Light codes. This is what we're on now. Light codes. Right, so they want me to... They want me to say... I'm going to put the card in the way so they can't see me. Actually, and give myself a little tiny head. So, light codes. They're light. They're codes. They're not even sounds. They're energies. They're carrier waves. They're frequencies. You can't translate light codes into the natural, into our physical world. They're light codes. They're frequencies that come down. You may occasionally hear them, but they're, when you flutter your eyelids and look at objects, you begin to see transformational frequencies around the edges of things, the auric fields. But they're talking about how we need to awaken to deeper, truthful understandings. This is they're saying, this is that sleep state where the light codes have come down into our bodies, and as I said, as they go through the dimensions, they weaken, but there's always a thread of truth because there's always source, but source has to distort its own purity as it reaches down into the physical distortions. And this is about allowing yourself to awaken this energy frequency within us. So what does Andromeda want to add to this light code? It's travel awaiting you. They're kind of, but what they mean by travel awaiting you is connection to our thread, to re-establishing us as a cosmic antenna reaching higher and further up. I don't know how that works. I'm just channeling what's coming through. I don't even know what you do with it, so don't ask me questions. Sorry. They're laughing. Oh, they're saying, how's your head? Okay, look, can we please have some seriousness? Oh, dearie, 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 dearie. Look, they're not talking now. Come on. People need help. And you've gone all quiet. Come on, Andromeda. Oh, there we go. Okay, now that's a weird one. It's 55. It's manifestation. It's Merlin frequency. And they're going, you're Merlin, just to laugh because of the... Oh. Actually, what they're saying is they keep saying... Oh, please. They're going, you think you're Merlin, don't you? I don't. Right, so... 55, manifestation. This is your thread of... Oh, okay, right. No, So, this... It's returning our thread, our Norn tapestry thread almost, from... We've almost got to go into the earth, these crop circles, these patterns, these three-dimensional, these light codes. We've got to plug our consciousness into the earth, and that's our thread. And we've almost got to stitch ourselves into the crystalline grid. And then when we come, we've got to come back up, sort of doing a running stitch through our entire being so that we form this frequency around us. So, and then that needs to start to resonate back up towards source. You're not going to reach source as such. What you're doing is you're opening communication to the Andromedans or whichever higher dimensional beings or your higher self. Okay, that's what they're joking about. That's why they're saying look, I'm not Merlin. Okay. He just got a big beard. This is talking about you've got to thread yourself through your higher self, and then thread your higher self will take the baton of your thread that you've stitched into the core of the earth, and it's like a kind of a relay race back to source. We can't go back to source while we're in the physical world, because that's just not universal law. And so you're trying to open your energetic wings, your consciousness, your flow of connected Kundalini energy of the earth grid and consciousness, and pass that thread all the way back up so that you're re-establishing a connection to the higher frequency dimensions. And other higher dimensional beings will take your thread up and weave it through their things so that you can start to download higher dimensional information. Oh no, they've just made my hand go towards this deck of cards that I've never ever tried to read. Please have the cards with pictures on. Please show me the cards with pictures on. Actually, they're asking me to put these with. There we go. I'm not having any more than 3 for the moment because that could get really scary. That to put them with Lenormand cards. You see, So what they're saying to me is, it's very simple. This is just 2112, crystalline grid. And then through your 2 heart chakras, weaving the 2 energy frequencies together. Ooh, that was a nice easy one. Oh! And then you've got to go up 10 steps. They're talking to me about there's something to do with the 10th of January 21, I don't know what that is. So let's go to the Lenormand and investigate why the 10th of January. Let me just think. 100121. Okay, the 10th of January, like the 10th of January is the first mirror moment. That we have to be searching for a series of mirrored dates, times, self-reflections, reflections. These are portals, personal portals. You don't have to grab at them all, but they're personal portals that help with this threading, because you've got to look at yourself and see the reflection of yourself. You're creating, okay, they're acting as the portals. When you reach these points and look at yourself in the mirror, but not the physical glass mirror, that scrying mirror of interdimensional possibilities and connecting to all the other versions of you in a higher form, then we will be able to choose the frequency hopping or the sidestepping. Oh, that's why we're that 10 steps thing. And we've got 1010. I didn't notice that before. We're seeking a pathway to weave our consciousness back up towards this sacred knowledge, geometric shapes. But it's giving us that moment to sidestep and then stitch a kind of a knotted thread in, so that we don't lose track of where we're moving through the dimensions, to send our consciousness to a much higher frequency. But so there is, this is what this is to do with. You've got to weave yourself through darkness as well, because within the cosmos there's masses of voids, black holes. There's more darkness than light, and you need to witness the darkness, because everything is hidden inside the darkness as formless consciousness. So let's go Lenormand on this 10th of the 1st, 21. Well, I have answered it. Stars. It's just talking about the vision upwards through to the, everything's coming together. The Andromeda and the Milky Way joining, pulling in. We've got to look towards, we've got to map out our own frequencies upwards. And then we have 23, which is rats. And mice are, I've never seen these mice look so demonic. And they're nibbling at the cheese, and they're this idea of anxieties that overrun our lives and create blockages and losses of energy, losses of confidence. There's all these things. So the challenge at these mirror dates is to really maintain your focus on the frequency of love and to keep our energy away, so that combining of the heart chakra, weaving the two heart chakras together, that's all about next year, is about trying to avoid falling into the fear and anxiety frequency traps. So let's just anything else, please, Milky Way, that you've got to say? Okay, so Divine Will 12. Let go of fear. We have to let go of the fear of where everything is moving. There's a divinity to this, and this is also that sense of let go of the fear and allow higher dimensional beings to thread you all the way back up to source so that you have a connection. At the moment, they're saying to me that we couldn't have that connection fully to source. That yearning that people have to be at one with source can't happen when you have two heart chakras, because they're not combined, and they're the frequency at which your molecules and your divine feminine, your divine masculine, divine feminine meet, and that needs stitching together. There's a beautiful Three of Swords card in the Lightseers Tarot where there is a broken heart, but it's being stitched together, and this is what the Andromedans are saying, that we're now moving into a whole energetic, 26,000 year cycle or whatever, where the heart chakras become mended. So what do the Andromedans want to say to go with Divine Will? What do the Andromedans want to say? Do you know what? I knew that card was coming. And I just bent it right up. I was thinking it's going to show us a card of like intimacy or lovers, and it is the card of intimacy. But this is not intimacy with another as such. This is about the threading together of our two hearts, bringing our divine masculine and divine feminine together. All right, it's a little bit Hollywood raunchy going on, but the point is it's an energetic kissing point. So we need to look at those two notes of the heart. So this is the divine masculine F, molecules of the natural world, the green lower heart of our divine masculine frequency that we need to be working on. So all the way through that, I was again being given not the Pathetique Symphony, but the Appassionata, maybe the Appassionata Sonata by Beethoven. The dum 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 will be quite handy for aligning you musically to its look. Classical music in many ways, not all classical music, because some of it's shit, but the divine moments, go to some Bach and feel the purity of the mass, but try and find a performer who doesn't play it like mass but plays it like it's living energy. I'm going to say Yonti Solomon. He was my piano teacher at the Royal College of Music. He's one of those people, if you can find recordings, who brings music to life in the most sublime way. Classical music, when it's divinely inspired, has magical codes in it, and this is Andromedan. It's like we're heading towards, it's almost like the music we've created in our world. While we love our music, there are very few moments where the music is divine, and the divinity is when the artists or the performers are connecting with Andromedan energy. It's hugely creative frequencies. So now the F sharp of the higher heart, the divine feminine consciousness heart, you see that one feels sandy, like almost like frosted glass instead of clear glass. And now I'm thinking of that piece of music by Mozart for the glass harmonica that sent people insane. Glass harmonicas were a series of tuned glasses, and you played notes on them, glass harmonicas, but they supposedly, the mythology was, they sent the players insane. So now to try and find a way to join those two. Okay, so now another of the shaman or the shaman de Laval, as I like to call it, is Pegasus again. Pegasus came up earlier in the Lyra Vega reading. I don't know what Pegasus is talking about, but balance in general. It's like being thrown, or having a whole series of new cosmic particles thrown at us, like dust, stardust, or something. And this Pegasus hasn't got its wings properly formed. So again, it's referencing into the knowledge that comes later, the sacred knowledge, as we move ever closer to the Andromedan thread, I want to say. I know the galaxies are merging together, but it's almost like they're saying to me, we all need to connect through our higher selves, through our spirit teams, this baton race of handing our new connected single heart Paradise Ray aquamarine frequency thread towards the Andromeda galaxy, and then that will help to smooth the journey. Oh, that's what the Pegasus is. It's like if it was just me alone trying to connect, because I've managed it, I'm gonna get hit by all the distortions because it will come at me too quickly. And that's also referring back to a section in the last reading which was to do with the Knight of Pentacles and the Knight of Wands, and that confusion over how we move between dealing with frequencies quickly and rapidly. We have to connect ourselves individually, and each person has to try and connect themselves individually, and that then begins to bring a series of like harp strings, threads down to pull the energy frequencies of other people together. So I feel like a little Lenormand. Okay, so really important message. This is fish. Oh, we had fish in the other reading that turned up at the end on the three of. It was at the very end, and it was on the cup of the card of the Three of Cups. This movement towards intimacy with another, but we have to create an intimacy with ourselves, fix ourselves, self-love before we get this energy of reaching out to another and binding our threads together. And that's interesting. The wrapping of the tying of hands, this imagery. Fish is about abundance, but it's about quality, not quantity. So don't throw, oh, this is going to go into that message that they want me to do later. So I'm not going to overdo this point, but the orcas want to talk to us. So don't go into the sea throwing out a vast net and dragging in 12 tons of fish, because you're getting quantity over quality. And it's that idea. Look, I don't like fishing. People fishing, I think it's quite cruel, personally. But it's people's choice. I don't rush over and say stop doing that. But this is about putting out a single thread, a single desire, a single notion, and waiting, having patience for a quality catch rather than a quantity catch. And there is the guy's over in his house at the back, and his pipe and his teacup are down here at the front, and there's a bridge and there's water and there's all kinds of other koi carp and beautiful imageries. There's a bird house and there's a bird on the tree, but the idea is he's in no rush to reach anything in life. He's reached a flow of gentle calmness. So I think that's probably where this reading needs to end. That was fun. So the next reading, with luck, will be Oceanus and the Orcas. I want to say, if you want to prepare yourself for that reading, because this music is becoming very important. There's a fantastic album by Björk and the Dirty Projectors, which is all about the lives of whales. And the Dirty Projectors sing really strange harmonic frequencies, and I think you'll enjoy it. So maybe give that a little look. Anyway, Wassail, beautiful people, and thank you, Andromedans, for a message that I had no idea was coming, or that we were capable of, or I was capable of unfolding and helping you to understand. Okay, so Wassail.